Wa kia ora, hui mai rā tātou katoa. Kei te rangatira ki au korua, anau mai hara mai ki Wanganui a mātai, kei te whakawhiti ki te kōrero, ki tēnei pō, tō whakaro, kei te whakamua ki a mātai. So just a big mihi to you two, Monty and Pat, for just joining us for 30 minutes. And we have these, social media has just taken off under COVID. And so it's a pleasure to have both of you on. Pat, I don't want to be rude to you, but I know Monty a lot better. Not personally, but I know him in terms of the way he used to play rugby league. I watched his father fight. Yeah.
And his father, yes.
His old man would tell you that he's far better than Monty.
Yes.
So Monty, his dad was outstanding, and then along come young Monty and outstanding rugby league footballer, Kiwi warrior, and but he's also entrepreneurial, and he's sort of taken that out into a whole range of phases. So I'll just throw it back to you, Pat, for an answer as to how two unusual blokes like you came together to provide a way forward to open our hearts, minds and souls to doing it for ourselves in business.
Yeah. Thanks, John. Kia ora tātou. Yeah, so Monty and I've known each other for 10 years, and he tells a better story than this because, rugby league players, they tell really good stories, especially about their past exploits. And so I've known Monty for a while, trained with him. He carried out these ritualistic beatings on me once a week that I paid him very well for. And so we had been at the gym while I was working at Xero. So the last sort of 5 years, I've been global director of media at Xero, technology startup, or not a startup anymore, but pretty successful global platform. And Monty and I had started training together again. And he was just looking at options for his future career. He had tried a few different things, and obviously with Sky, and he just came to me asking me for some advice on, what sort of things that he thought he could do based on the opportunities that were in front of him. It was a bit of a hard case because, Monty, everybody knows him as a sportsman, but he's a very sharp intellect as well. And so he ran through the things that, he had on his table in front of him at that point in time. And one was around sports merchandise. Another one was around his training, his television. And then he just happened to mention that he was doing some work with a mate that was a dentist. And immediately I sparked up and I was like, tell me more about the dentist. And he said, well, I'm helping this guy. He's a mate of mine, and he's in the dental business. He's got these mobile units that go out to schools. Dr. Scott Waghorn, another a very successful Māori dentist from out Gleneden way, is his flagship practice. Yeah. And so it just occurred to me, and I said to him, look, bro, just imagine, they'd still give you the mic at Mount Smart. You did all right while you were there. You're a bit of a club legend, and you got to walk out into the middle of the field on a packed night. And you said, how many people would want to buy, you asked him, how many people want to buy my boxing gloves? He said, oh, maybe, 1,000 or so, a couple thousand. I said, yep. And so how many people will want your really expensive personal training courses? He said, oh, probably a few less than that. And I said, and then how many people, if you asked them, do you think would be in some sort of need in the present or near future for dental work? And that was it. Of course, there's a whole bunch of people. Probably
was that a bias against Warriors fans? Is that what you're saying? Is that a bias against Warriors fans?
It's not a bias. I'm a Warriors fan myself, but the thing is that everybody at some point in time needs to get their teeth fixed, but not everybody needs a set of boxing gloves. And I think people were looking at Monty from a very fixed point of view. And, I knowing the guy and knowing what he knows, a little bit about what he knows, particularly around social, his work ethic, high performance, I thought there was just a bigger opportunity for him inside of that space. And so he pursued it to an extent. I helped him. What we found is that we got on really well together. And I applied my big sort of corporate technology, brand, global sort of insight into a smaller to medium-sized business, and it just worked. And then one day we were reflecting and said, mate, that was pretty cool, eh? You reckon we could do it again? Like, oh no, should we give it a try? And then we gave it another try. That worked as well. And then so that was July. And then up until March early this year, she was all plain sailing. We had the luxury of picking the clients that we wanted to work with. We had a global portfolio of clients in the design innovation space, and things were plain sailing.
And then
boom.
Yeah. So before Pat gets into it clearly, I remember the day because, me being new into business and being, taking what I learned in the sports field and being a good student, I was learning from the best, and Pat MacFie and Andrew Hamilton and all that around me. And when this was all potentially going to get taken away from me, there was a few expletives that were getting mentioned, and it was happening also quick and fast. I was thinking about, okay, survival, cool. Okay, what do we need to do as a group? Very much like I would in a warrior situation, very much what I would do in a team situation or as an individual athlete. But it was at that stage when I realised that I was around amazing leaders with big hearts and had a huge vision and passion, because that want to look after ourselves and survive for ourselves really to move into a lot of people, as you mentioned, John, off air, a lot of people only sort of 1 to 4 man bands or people in terms of teams. So they didn't have the people around us like we did, the people that can call on to be there as business leaders to navigate through COVID-19. And that's what this man and Andy Hamilton do. And I remember the day clearly, I was sitting in the podcast room and they're going back and forth, and nothing in terms of the numbers were in our favour, were they, Pat?
No, to answer your question, we were stuffed. Friday the 13th, like, what a bloody day. Seen horror movies, but actually this was a horror day. Friday the 13th of March, we wrapped it up for the day. We'd heard from some of our clients to say they were thinking about pulling back. Our investors were getting cold feet because we were just closing a seed investment round. By Monday, all 4 investors had pulled out, and we'd lost $500,000 worth of work, and we were up bloody shit creek without a paddle, bro. And so we literally, took a few moments to, I guess, to mourn the moment, to recognize how shit the situation was. And then we just faced some really grim decisions. Do we fight, essentially, or do we fold? And, we looked around us, and for a couple of weeks in the lead up, myself and Andy and Monty had been talking about, look, like quite rightly, everybody's focusing on the number of new COVID cases, but the impact on small business is going to be huge.
Yeah.
And we've been talking about that in the lead up all the way up to it happening. And then it happened to us. And we were like, well, didn't serve us much bloody good knowing that it was coming. And so we weren't that prepared. We did everything that we could. But we knew the situation was grim for us, but we also knew it was grim for everybody else. And so, we resolved.
If you've just joined us, I'm talking to Pat MacFie, co-founder of Manaaki, and Monty Betham, who's his partner with the same concern. Now, we're going to head into Manaaki because we've just heard how Monty and Pat have run a business that run into all sorts of problems, and they've had to work their way through that. That's point one. Point two is, 87% of all businesses in New Zealand are under 5 full-time employees. And so as we move into a new era post-COVID, and the old era of the industrial industrial age, where we clocked in at 9 and clocked out at 5, where we all went onto the roads at 7:30 on the way to work and 5:30 on the way back. Post-COVID world will be, I think, more efficient, more effective, and we'll learn a lot more from it. So what Pat and Monty have done is set up an outstanding website and a vista for you when you have your dreams and your aspirations, and you might want to get into business or are in business. Pat and Monty have finally cracked the nut, which is outstanding, and it's a business support model. So Monty, Pat, how does Manaaki work?
I'll just talk to you about Manaaki first. So the platform itself is www.manaaki.io. So basically it's a question and answer forum where you can go on there, and you've got amazing people in terms of Craig Hudson, MD of Xero New Zealand, Anna Stretton from the Stretton Group, Stefan Lepionka, who started Charlie's, and you've got people just down the road who are starting business and startups that are getting there doing that. Better Colour Name, from Lewis Road Creamery. We've got some amazing people, Pat's there themselves. But the other thing I want to bring light to is at the moment we're giving away 1,000 websites for a lot of people out there. So it's www.manaaki.io/1,000 websites. You've got to pivot. You've got to get online. We mentioned the traditional clocking in, clocking out, doing it all by word of mouth. This is the way you can do it. This is the way it can help you sell as well. So those are the two URLs that everyone should take aware of.
Yeah, Pat.
Just answer. Yeah. You know, I think about, you mentioned the Industrial Revolution, and I think about, business potential for Māori, and, there's always a prevalent system that, we're forced to work within. The Industrial Revolution set the terms, and that's why, people worked in factories, and now we've had a new age, and the age is technology, and all of a sudden the new blue collar job is being a computer coder. And so, whoever runs the dominant system is the person that's architecting where us, the labor force, move toward, and the sort of roles and opportunities that are available to us. What I like about small business is, and I think it speaks and it has resonance for every Māori, is the element of self-determination and self-actualization. And the fact that you, off of your own work, off of your own sweat, off of your own determination, can build something that resembles, or that you can aspire towards, to live the life that you want on your own terms. What you need as you go on that journey is not to try and do that alone, but what you need, if you're in a room full of people, you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. You need to surround yourself with the best advisors that you can get to maximize your opportunity to succeed. Because as great as the self-actualization and determination is, there's still very high attrition rates and failure rates inside of small business. The ones, and the characteristics and all the stats confirm, the ones that do well are the ones that not only do the fundamentals, but surround themselves with great advice. And so when we created Manaaki, of course, it was in this moment where every business in the country was actually in crisis, but it was also an opportunity to leverage that moment around a Māori cultural concept that we use to pull in people from every corner of the planet, the best business people, to sit inside of that and to make themselves available at no cost to a startup, to a person with a dream, to a person with a problem. And that's the thing that I think that is for me the most satisfying out of what the Manaaki platform has done. Yes, the small business can connect to the great guy, but I really love the fact that we've been able to do it inside of a Māori first framework.
Well, www.manaaki is the site. You've put. Look, here's the beauty about it, right? You've engineered a site where people can get access to folk that they would never have dreamed that they could have got access to with opportunity capacity. Secondly, you've got the capacity to actually put up a website to start to drive the business, Facebook, whatever, or get them into the game. And so I'm really grateful to be talking to you tonight. We'll be taking your product across all our whānau ora websites up and down the country. There's about 580,000 enrolled sort of folk in those groupings up and down. And so the 1,000 websites, how does that work?
So we store the data on the site and on Manaaki, and it said, like, all the most popular questions were around, how do I stay in contact with my customers? How do I get online? How do I sell products online? And we did the homework, and it was clear that one of the things that small businesses lacked was just a very basic online presence to enable them to connect to their customers and to transact. And so what we set about doing was finding the simplest, quickest way for a small business to get a basic presence up online. And we looked at everybody. We had the largest e-commerce platform in the world want to partner with us, a company called Shopify. And we got all the way down the track, and we still actively researched. And then we found this a New Zealand startup, 3 young fellows out of Wellington, keeping it local. And well, that's it. If we could do it local, we were going to do it local. And they're called Swiftly. So their site's called swiftly.nz. And they had an incredibly simple solution. And what we knew is that we could get the people there, and their solution was so easy that we could get people online. So we went live last Monday. And by Saturday, we'd already hit the 1,000 websites. We're well over 1,000 websites now. Over 1,000 signups. There are over 200 websites live. In the space of a week, people are selling, people are transacting, people are getting the wheels back on the economy and inside of their own families and communities. So, yeah, we're wrapped with that outcome.
Yeah, I'll just ask you for an observation, because when you've been down for 6 weeks, you've everyone, a number of our people in our communities understand home detention. I can't say I know that in person, but I'm still a Warriors fan.
I can relate.
But all we know is that the world's changed quite dramatically, and people have worked out that we don't all have to go to school at the same time. In fact, schooling might change dramatically in terms of online capacity, and searching for the best options for your baby is now not trying to get into King's College or St. Cuth's. It might be the beauty about what you boys are doing is opening up vistas of opportunity, not just in business. It's a human endeavor everywhere. So I've seen some outstanding sort of media networked opportunities that can be dealt with remotely, and that is probably going to be better than what those kids would get at a Decile 1 school in South Auckland. Okay.
Yeah.
And our parents have a right to then determine that they would have that schooling, because just going down the old track, might or might not be right. So I just think what you boys, or what Manaaki has just happened upon is it's a wedge. It's a great wedge, and it's going to open significant opportunities for all of our people. So what's been the reaction to Manaaki? I understand from what you've just said, Pat or Monty, that the take-up is huge from Instagram all the way through. What's your metrics there?
So far, we have 44,000 users on the Manaaki platform, 44,000 small businesses. What we've found is it's become a site for content, that people come here to read all of the content that's on there. We've had over 400 questions asked. We've had over 1,000 replies from experts. We have had about 144,000 minutes worth of time spent on the site. So the site is making an absolute impact. We've had literally hundreds of pieces of feedback of people that have found it beneficial. And so it's doing the job. It's doing the job of getting people the right advice. On average, when you come and ask a question, you get 3 answers to your question within the course of a day. And it's the best advice that you're going to find anywhere. It's advice that normally you'd pay, a high paid consultant a lot of bloody money for. And so that part's working. Out in the social media space, we're getting a lot of traction around what we're doing with the content, where we are exposing to a broader audience just some of these experts and their knowledge. So we had the guys, that launched TikTok. It's an app that's just huge around the world right now. Well, that app was actually launched by a New Zealand company, and the guy that leads that company is actually a young Māori fella as well, Keo Panoho, just an incredible talent. And so we're exposing people to all this. Oh, yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, so we're just exposing literally thousands and thousands of small businesses to just world-class advice.
And I think it's just also the Manaaki network. I mean, not so long ago, there's the Cookie Project, who is a social enterprise who are struggling at the moment. They're looking like they're going to shut down. They give people with disabilities the opportunity to work for them, and they're very good at what they do. So they reached out to the Manaaki live community. They got on a chat with Pat at 8:30 at night. And then the very next week, we're able to help them with a demand, which is a place where they could spend 5 hours a week to help them continue to do what they do and give jobs to some of these disabilities, but also keep their vision in mind. And, it's a good friend of ours, Leo, down there at the headquarters, who gave his space and his oven and an opportunity for that. So it's the pragmatic side of it, but it's also just aroha and around the word and the essence of Manaaki itself.
Well, look, we will have the agents of doom and gloom come through as well, because that's going to happen, right? What you, Monty, and what you, Pat, are doing is giving hope, you see, and a light at the end of the tunnel, rather than it's woe be me. Because there's no doubt that unemployment, the handbrake on the economy because of COVID and so on, is going to bear in deep and dark on some of our communities. What I really enjoyed when I saw Manaaki operating, and why I wanted you on tonight, was how you're shining a light about hope, about no, we can do this. We don't need somebody else. We can think our thoughts and have a go. And that's what entrepreneurship is. So I just want to say a big me to both of you. For those of you that's joining us, we're with Monty Betham. I think one of the most outstanding leaders in rugby league that we've ever had. Probably not acknowledged for it, isn't that right, Monty? Could have got a C and a few other things.
All good.
If you were an All Black, you would have been a knight by now. But rugby league boys always get treatment. But anyway, look, you'd be Sir Monty. Jesus, wouldn't that be a ripper? But look, I just want to say to you, it's been outstanding. When I saw your site, because I've always been interested in getting our people involved in business rather than believing that all they had to sell was their labour. And it's not true. And so you've given us a website, a entree into self-development, self-management, and self-determination. And there's not smart, it's Pacific Island peoples as well. So I just wanted to give a big me to you. And so, ladies and gentlemen, if you've got any questions to ask the team, you're more than welcome to sort of just click in now, and we can take questions. So what's your take on getting our biggest problem post-COVID will be 14 to 24-year-olds first? Okay, they were, in mining Pacific Island terms, they were 3 times in a rock star economy more likely to not be in education, training, or employment. And so we've got a growing issue there of significant potential, well versed in digital. It's a matter of how we engage there. Have you any thoughts about that?
Yeah, definitely. I think that you touched on it earlier, John. It's that the whole education space, it's like so many spaces, it's just up for grabs right now. It's time to just rethink everything and redesign everything. And, for Māori, why don't we just think about design, and Polynesian peoples, we just think about designing it in the manner that's best going to suit our people. And we know we're very digitally capable, we are very adept with social media, with, all forms of technology. So, and as you said, the whole digital realm, digital learning, like what Michelle Dickinson has done with Nanogirl Labs is a bloody great example. And she's somebody that's faced racism her whole life for being mixed race. And now she's developed a methodology of learning that speaks to her experience. And this woman worked on the first iPhone, for Pete's sake. You know what I mean? And so that being able to teach our children in a manner that's going to really, and provide them with a curriculum of learning that's going to set them up to succeed, I think that is the opportunity. And I have been looking at, and Mont will tell you this, homeschooling my children, because I just fundamentally don't believe that the education system as it stands is best suited for my kids. They've grown up kohanga reo, kura kaupapa Māori, and I can't think of anything worse for those young creative spirits to go into a memory-based education system where you're rated on how well you can remember formula. Just doesn't resonate with me at all. And so now's the opportunity to rethink all of those things. And for those bold enough and brave enough, the few of us, to give it a crack, I say to them, more power to you, and go out there and, let's seize this opportunity for what it is, and let's make the most of it.
So Māori and Pacific have been storytellers for years, very good at telling stories. And that's in essence what digital is. Content is storytelling and creation. And I think you've got to be, like you said, brave and make that step over. When you're transitioning from sport into business, there's that fear of imposter syndrome. But we know that our people do the mahi. When you give them process, they stick to it, they come through on the other side. You just got to believe in yourself, trust in yourself, and then surround yourself with some people. And there are some very smart people out there, and as well of the same sort of race or ethnicity as well, like as Pat, that there to teach you. You know, there's some people doing some wonderful things, and that's what something we're doing. Is we want to be role models. You talk about me being a role model in rugby league. I want to be known for my second act as a guy from South Auckland who did it in business. Oh, that's right, and he played rugby league. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm on my journey. I'm on that way now, and I've surrounded myself with some amazing people. You talk about leadership. That man there who led a global team at zero for 5 years, he's amazing. I call him Cam Smith sometimes, and he's a Māori boy, you know, which is brilliant.
Well, look, hey, I think that's why you're both on tonight with me. I'm trying to sort of get under your halos to get a bit of it for myself. But here's the thing. So I just wanted to go to a quick question here, which I think is a fair question, from Renee. And she says, look, I need startup help. What are the steps to follow? Do I register my business first? Then do I do the business plan? Or what are the first steps if I've got a good idea and I'm just trying to start out?
Well, I think that is it actually a good idea is the first question. And please excuse me for being very straight up about these things, because when it's coming to business and you're going to invest your life into it and your hopes and dreams of your family and your future generations, you need to treat these decisions really seriously and the process with a lot of rigor. So first, is your idea any good? And then the way to figure that out is just to test it. You know, find out who your customer is, put it in front of them, your potential customer, put it in front of them, put it in front of many of them as possible, with is just like a minimum viable product, the smallest thing that you can get away with, spending the least amount of money that you can to test if people will actually buy it. Once you figure out that somebody would be interested in that product, then you can think about having a business. But a business plan, like, you need to understand the fundamentals of doing business, and like nothing happens in business unless something gets sold. If you got the product or service that doesn't sell, then you're not going to be in business for very long. So just test, little tests to give yourself the confidence. Then once you think you have a basic hypothesis that you can scale out to be a proper business, build a business plan around that. And you know what? Make sure your business is well funded, because lack of funding is one of the primary reasons that businesses fail inside of New Zealand. So, you know, really think about those things. Really treat that process with a lot of rigor, because there's a lot on the line. But if you're successful, the upside is really, you know, tremendous.
Look, we're coming to the end of our time with you, because both of you boys need to go and see your stockbrokers to see how you're trading.
We're going all right.
And so, you know, poor mortals like us and other people that are on this feed have got other things to do after this. But look, there's two quick questions here. One is I'll come to the future of Manaaki and what your moemoeā and dreams are for it. And so to those of you that have just joined over the course of this live feed, I've got Monty Betham here, outstanding kiwi, outstanding warrior, but now an outstanding community leader, okay? And then Pat MacFie, he's got big, when you Google him, he must have written it, because it's all positive. So I just Google me. Say that about all sorts of things. This guy's just magic. So that's those two. Pat or Monty, you know, we had a chat before you came on air, and I was going to put it to you. We have a budget coming out on Thursday, and Michael Joseph Savage brought a budget out in 1938 that determined, in large part, why Māori and Pacific Island people are staunchly DNA'd into Labour. Anyway, we'll put that to one side, because I'm not now. But anyway, it's another story. Here's the thing. And then there was the Roger Douglas Longy budget of 84 that set us on the trickle-down neoliberalism. That's cool. We've got
neoliberalism.
We've got this. COVID has allowed us to go right back to a clear canvas. And so, if you were thinking forward, particularly in where Manaaki is going, in terms of lifting those that think or thought they never had a shot, but they now have, in a new era, in a new world. Where do you think some emphasis would be if you were part of that budget, not all of it, but part of it?
For my mind, Indigenous culture has so much to offer. Indigenous frameworks has so much to offer. Manaaki is a really vivid example of that we can bring together this country's best business leaders and best expertise onto a Māori platform inside of a Māori framework, based around a concept that's fundamentally about caring for each other, about tribalism, about the same principles that we have operated inside of hapu and inside of iwi, but at a more micro level. And so I would be, I really think about how do we really take this essence of community and care for each other and think about how we can bring that to life outside of COVID. As we go into level 2, like the thing that I fear is that the insight that we've all had around what this could mean for us, the opportunity to rewrite the future for Māori in education, for Māori in business, is that we go out next week, and just like we saw last week when we saw lines of people just lining up for McDonald's for kilometers, and we just fall back into our old habits and our own frameworks, and we forget about the opportunity that's right in front of us now. And the thing about Manaaki, we didn't wait, John. We didn't wait for anybody. We didn't wait for permission. We got up and we did it ourselves. We took the issue in hand. It was self-determination. It was on behalf of others. And I think if we can find something at the essence of that, then I think, there's hope for us. As you said, hope, that substance of things that are unseen. But when you put hard work and kaha and effort behind it, you can make hope tangible and it can change the future.
Okay, Monty, should I vote for that bloke anytime? What have you got any final sort of comments and sort of wrap up? I know 8:30 time, yeah.
Look, just with the time, I just really want to wrap up with letting people know about the free platform with the expert advisors on board. So it's www.manaaki.io. And if you want to have the ability to sell online with the website, you can do that. Okay, so go to www.manaaki.io/1000 websites. We've had, like I said, 1,000 people already listed up, but you know what? Go again, because you'll be worth it. And we've already got 200 people with their websites up and running, and they're getting sales right now. Digital is the way to go, and that's what everyone's been saying through the Manaaki platform. We've made it available to you for free, so get there. Please check it out, and thank you for your Manaaki tonight, John.
Yeah, no, it's all cool. And
yeah, kia ora, John.
We'll keep this going. Geez, I've got people from Invercargill coming in here, bro, and yeah, it's amazing what happens in Southland, apparently. But look, so I just wanted to thank you two. And to those of you that just joined us, not on the link, Manaaki has many, dependent on context, has many meanings. And so, one of them is to embrace and to support and to care. And so all our Pacific Island terms in this area have multiple supportive meanings. So that's what Manaaki is about. And so I'm really grateful for you two boys giving up 30 minutes of your whānau time to come on and share your mana and your whakaaro with us. And so, mā te atua, Manaaki tanga, kia koutou. So God bless you all and your work. And remember, people, go to that website. It's www.manaaki.io/1000 websites. And the boys here, they're just doing an outstanding job. And remember this, while some of us will be laid off jobs, never stop dreaming that we can all be self-employed and have a go, and that's what this is all about. So keep faith, keep the faith. And the Warriors have had a great start to the season. They've only lost 2 games this year. It's one of their best performances.
Cut it out, John. Cut it out.
It was coming. It was coming, bro. You knew it was coming, Mark.
Yeah, 100%, Monty. Good to see you, bro. And also, he aroa kia koutou and Pat, heura whānui. Pō Māori e whānau.
Pō Māori.